So, the law of perfection. So, the law of perfection is not actually in this book, it's in a different book called The Laws of Love. But the law of perfection is like the foundation, and it's said in different ways depending on what you believe. If you're into the laws of the universe, that's great. If you're into the laws of the Bible, that's great too. It's just a different way of saying the same thing. But basically, the law of perfection is that everything that happens in the universe is perfect, and it happens in the perfect way that it's supposed to happen for the continuation of the universe. And because we are a part of the universe, it's for the perfection of the continuation of us. So as human beings, and to get us to where our destiny and where we're supposed to be, where we want to be. And there are books, movies about this, like Back to the Future. That's a good example that a lot of people know about. There's another recent like time machine movie that I can't remember the name of, but it illustrates it perfectly. And it's basically like, like in Back to the Future, where he goes into the past and he changes some things because he thought, life would be better if I were to go back in the past and change these little things, and life would be so much cooler and better. And, I'd be a cool guy, or whatever the case may be. I'd be rich, whatever the case may be. And then because of that, all kind of hell broke loose and chaos ensued, and people died that weren't supposed to die, and all kinds of different things happened. So then he goes to the future and he tries to fix it, and just going back and forth and like trying to pretty much play God or play the universe, and based on his limited knowledge of how things are supposed to work. And that's basically an example of how, things are happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen, and to try to tweak it and think that, if I were to go back in the past or this, and that's pretty much regret, or if I were to go in the future and I knew it was going to happen, that's like worry. I wish I knew, like, you're afraid of what's going to happen, what's to come. But if you realize that everything is happening perfectly to your benefit, that you can live a more fluid life. And I know I have to practice this because, everybody does. It's a practice. It's something that you have to practice. It's a mindset that you practice every single day. And, basically, it's just law of perfection, the foundation that this is happening for me, not against me. And, an example that I can give is just like the death of my father when I was 18. He died when I was 18 of prostate cancer. And when he died, of course, I'm not like, oh, this is great, this is going to be for the benefit of my good, and blah, blah, blah. And, when something like that happens, tragedy or whatever, before it happens, everybody wants it to not happen, right? You want this person to live, or you want, things to be the way you think it should be. But in hindsight, only in hindsight, you can see that, this person was suffering. It may have been better for them to go, or even in the life path of how things were supposed to happen. If somebody's supposed to go, then they're going to go. If they're not supposed to go, then they're not going to go. There have been plenty of miracles that have happened where people were this close to death. I've had experiences. Some of y'all have had experiences where you were this close to death, or, different things. Like even tragedy. I remember coming home late, and I was at a red light, and this car literally it was driving past me. They must have been drunk. They were being chased by the cops, and I was parked at the stop sign, and they were swerving, and they kind of swerved and hit the side of this car that was right next to me. So it was an open lane. There's a car on this side, and there was me on this side. And he was driving fast enough to where if he would have swerved and hit this side, I would have been dead, because he would have pretty much just took that part of the car off. But instead, he took the left side of the car off, and nobody's in the passenger seat of that person's car. And I was looking at the guy, and he was looking at me, and we were both like, oh my God. And different things like that happen. So different things like that happen, and you think it's a positive thing. But the opposite also happens where, you know, what are the chances, because the opposite could have happened, what are the chances that somebody would swerve and then hit somebody like that and kill them? And this happens every day. And it's just, that is what's meant to happen for that time, and whatever the case may be. And it's tough. It's really tough to you know, come to grips with that, especially if it's with someone you love. So at that time, I thought that was, you know, horrible. But what it did for me with my father's death, it caused me to ask more questions. It caused me to wake up and think, like, death is real, right? And death is real to me because I seen somebody that I've known since birth die at 18. And a lot of people don't feel that pain until they're in the 40s or 50s, or, you know, they don't see that. And pretty much it caused me to really, really question, like, am I going to this school for the right reasons? Is that it? Like, if I die today, if I'm in traffic on my way to this school, taking this class that I don't want to be taking, what if I die on my way there? Like, what would that mean? That would be horrible. Like, if I'm gonna die on my way somewhere, I want to be dying on my way to something that I truly love doing and I'm passionate about, or whatever the case may be. I'm doing something that resonates with my soul. So that, from that perspective, it made me live differently, and it changed my decisions. And I got really into reading books and wanting to understand the laws of the universe, and just, like, you know, how this all works and comes together. So with that law of perfection, like, there's no way I could have been like, you know, okay, my dad's going to die at 18. It's going to be great. And then when I turn this, like, no, like, that's not how it works. But you just have to trust that the things that do happen, or even when I quit my job and I didn't win the business plan competition, I was devastated. But there's no way I could have known at that time exactly what was going to happen from that event. And if you can live from that perspective of knowing that you don't know, but you know that whatever does happen is for the best. It's literally for the best. And I'll see you in the next video, because I'm going to get deeper into this, the practical practices and the skills. All right.